All right, so I want to be, let's see what we're going to be doing today. We're in the process of making this move type of move. So those are the place options, where you can place a stone in an empty spot. But if you go to move, you can, depending on what player is, if you have control over the stack, you can click it, and then right now it kind of locks where you've clicked, but it needs to now highlight orthogonally the valid moves, as long as there is no standing stone or capstone in the way. But if it's empty, or if it's a lay stone of any color, you should be able to move. See, and then that shouldn't be right. We need to set a toggle for. Yeah, we shouldn't be able to disappear all our stones by clicking on them. Now that green highlight bit is this move locked highlight. So we need to not populate the move locked highlight if we're already initiated a first movement. So I guess here, if we click, we remove the stone, no longer occupied. See, and that's not exactly right, because we're just doing one stone at a time, but this would not become false if there's more than one stone. So yeah, I guess we're just doing the occupants one at the moment. So we reset, we take the stone out of that spot, and then right now we have a hard coded to that first stone, but that's actually, no, that is the case, because if there's only one occupant, then members 1 is the only stone to be removed. So okay, so we need to say if not first movement locked here, and not first movement locked, then we can remove it. So now we should only be able to take out one stone no matter how many times we click a stone in our control. So remove, but if we click this one, it doesn't remove. So we fixed that. But now we need to highlight. There's two ways I figure we can go about this. We could either highlight, we could pre-highlight the squares you can move to, or we could only highlight a valid move when you're hovering over it. So I guess I'm not sure what I would like better. Maybe let's just start with highlight all valid moves, and we'll start there, and then we can decide further. So we're not really holding on to the values of this IJ, are we? Because we need to hold on to these values so we can do 2D array arithmetic to find out the orthogonal spaces. But we need to come up with some way to hold on to this I and J that is clicked on. So yeah, what would we do there? It's like does this mean we need a class? A class to hold multiple values? Because we need to hold two values. We can do a local variable I and a local variable j, or whatever we want to call it. And then because we need those variables, and those variables are going to be updated depending on how many moves have happened. Like, yeah. So the first bracket is the row, second bracket is the column. So we can give ourselves a variable here called locked row. Maybe we call it, because it's like we're like the move locked. Maybe we just call it move locked row. That's kind of confusing, but I don't know what else to call it. Move locked row. We're gonna get 0 for now, I guess, and then move locked column. So the first one's the row, second one's the column. So we can take our IJ from the click detection, move them into these variables, and then do the arithmetic based on that, and then hopefully populate a new control highlight for each of the valid moves. So it's going to be hard to test too, because we want to, well, I guess it'll be easy to test. Because yeah, all we have to do is place a capstone or standing stone orthogonally next to the stone we're moving. And then one step at a time here. Let's do move locked row, move locked column. So we'll do this here. Click detection, move type move, right here. So the first thing we're gonna do, well, I guess whatever, it can be move locked highlight gets true on that grid. So okay, so we're gonna have to flush this upon a second move. That should be easy enough though. But we need, once we click on that, we're going to update our two variables we just made, and we're going to give it the corresponding row and column, right? First bracket is row, second bracket is column. Yeah. So IJ should give the move locked row. If we want, we could print up the debugging for this to make sure it's working appropriately, but I guess we'll only resort to that if it's not performing as intended. Okay, so we are assigning our move locked row and our move locked column. And those variables are how we are going to determine what to highlight as a valid move. Because we can only move, I gotta write this down, we can only move so yeah, we can go up one column. Shit. Two. Okay, yeah. So if we look at this, we can look at the grids that would be valid moves here. So look, our move locked is right here on 3-3. So we need to subtract 1 from the row for a 2-3. We need to add 1 to the row for a 4-3. We need to subtract 1 from the column to get a 3-2, and add 1 to the column to get a 3-4. And that's our orthogonal arithmetic, if you want to call it that. Then in the midst of that, we need to make sure we're not on an edge or a corner. There's going to be corner cases, edge cases, and then middle cases, which is a majority of it. But we don't want to, and we can't render a space outside the active grid, so we'll have to do a little bit of conditional stuff there. Let me look at how our... So what I'm calling control highlight is only rendering... Yeah, see, it's almost like we need something different. We can't use the variable control highlight because we're doing some logic to render that only if we're hovering above a control highlight. It's like a stack that's in our control. So I just don't like that we have to do the same thing so many times over here. So I'm sure there's a way to shrink that, because it's all the same code anyway, but that makes me wonder how we need to squish that. Do we need another variable here? Or do we just... Yeah. Instead of control highlight, what if we called it viable move? Or what's the word I'm looking for? Legal move highlight? And if we haven't been first move locked highlight yet, we do the current control highlight logic, but then if we are first move locked, we change our legal move. We change our legal move booleans to be appropriate. So maybe we do this instead of control highlight. We call it legal move highlight. And then we need to make sure we don't use our control highlight anywhere. And then okay. We need to change this to legal move highlight. Then we would need to add probably a couple more if statements here to make sure that we're not a second move locked. You know what? This is kind of a bad idea. Let me just see where we're doing this again, legal move. So if our move type's move, if it's a legal move highlight, or our move is locked highlight, then we need to render that grid. That's fine, I guess. Here, legal move highlight. Okay, so yeah, this is where we would say if move turn 1 or something. Like we need to say, we need to keep track of what move we're on before we even click on a stone in our control. Because we don't want to render, this used to be just control highlight, and right now it'll still render Actually, let's see what it does, because I think it would still render anything in our control even after a click, but that actually might not be the case because we have the first move locked boolean in there. So look, we go to move, we move it, and then, yeah, cool. So it does still work. So yeah, I think we are doing a first move locked that is preventing us from rendering, well, not first movement locked. Crap, this is getting confusing. Basically, we can only become first movement locked if we are clicked in a legal move highlight, the occupants is 1, and we're not already first movement locked. So it still works as control highlight at the moment. And then when we say, then we can do some update logic, say, hey, if we're first movement locked, now our see, I guess where would we be? No, I want to see legal move highlight. Then the legal move highlight is actually just it's just an outline around whatever grid our occupant is. So each occupant has a legal move highlight boolean that can highlight it or not. So right here, right here we need to say, if we move, is this after it's clicked? Set selection highlight if under mouse cursor. So that's flipping the selection highlight boolean if we're over it. And then if we're in move, if our mouse is where the grid is, then if we have control, then a legal move highlight will become true. But otherwise, stack control. So I guess I'm confused why it wouldn't still highlight a stack control after the first movement. I feel like it should still highlight that stack control because it says we have white control when we're hovering over it and occupants 1, but we're not flushing this legal move highlight to false. Unless we're not over the mouse grid. Are we changing players after we click? No. Guess I'm a little confused why we're stopping, why we're not rendering the stack control anymore, or the highlight if we have stack control after a click. Let's see, after a click and we move, it makes sense because we lose our oh no, we become move locked highlight. Movement locked. Yeah, I guess I'm a little confused why it's not rendering the highlight when we're hovering over it. I mean, what's weird is that's the behavior we want, but I don't know where we're doing that. So that's what I'm kind of confused about. Because I feel like I should have had to implement that somewhere, but I'm not seeing it. We make legal move highlight true if we're in control. And our move type is still move after clicking, right? Because yeah, this should still set a legal move highlight just like before we click. So look, before we click, oh, it's not doing it. It's not doing it. Okay, it did stop doing it. Okay, so we need to fix that. Legal move highlight. This is not legal move. It is legal move, but we've been typing it wrong. Legal move. Really? I could have sworn I was typing legal movement. Okay. Oh. No. Fuck. I don't know where this is. Legal move highlight. Oh. This is subject. Let's print up our legal move highlight for the given grid we're over. So we'll go right here and we'll say this dot legal move highlight. And we're going to be putting in our grid dot legal move highlight converted to a string. Close our string and then close our, no, I guess we just need that. Close the string there and then give ourselves the X and Y, which will be 420. Now we can see our legal move highlight and see if it's working, which it's not because I can tell it's not. So look, move. Oh, it's working there. So look, legal move highlight is true, but then we click it. You see how, this is exactly what I was thinking, or like this is why it was wrong. It's not highlighting it, but it should be, because the legal move highlight is true here, but it's not highlighting it. So I need to figure out why that's the case, because we need to flush. It's weird because it's like we don't want it to highlight, but it should be highlighting according to our legal move highlight, which is what is confusing me. Because the true on the legal move highlight tells me that it should render that highlight because it's a legal move and we're on a move type move and we're still the player one and we got stack control on this particular grid. So that's what's weird to me. I'd be in the render somewhere. why it's doing that. That grid. Jeez, there's got to be a better way to do this. It's like, yeah, I feel like we need to go about this differently. I don't know. So if we turn off this other condition, does that change? Actually, what? What? That's so weird that would make it crash. But see how the lock or the legalMoveHighlight is true, therefore we're rendering it if it's true, which should be the case even after we click on this. But it's not. It's still true, but it's not rendering. So what's different is first move locked is different. So like, where do we do this? First move locked right here. We're not. Yeah. Oh, here, look, first movement locked. That's the one I was talking about. Not first move locked. Okay. Maybe that fixes it now. Move. Okay, highlight, highlight. Now it should still highlight. It's still not. Legal move is true and it's still not highlighting. So what's going on? If we're move type move and our grid is a legalMoveHighlight, which it is. Oh, and occupants 1. Okay, so we did fix that, or we addressed that. But we don't flush our legalMoveHighlight, which we should. So we should flush this right here. We should say, you know, we give ourselves the new stuff and then we say, okay, this grid is no longer a legal move because we just moved. That was our previous legal move played, so we need to reset that to false, and then that should go appropriately. So it's like we saved ourselves in the render with the appropriate logic, but we did not cover our butts in the actual switching of the Boolean logic. Oh, shoot. See, that's not right either. Hold on. Because we're setting legalMoveHighlight based on stack control, which is... Okay. So I guess that doesn't answer the question. Because it still should be rendering... Oh, no. We saved ourselves in the render. We covered our butts in the render by adding this. Say only render it if the only render it if it was a legal first move locked or whatever. But I just want to see if. Yeah. So, oh crap! Hold on, I just noticed something. So as soon as I move it, so look, legalMoveHighlight is true in this square. and once I click it, it's still true, which shouldn't be the case, which is what this is the one line of code we just commented out. But what's weird is if we hover out of it, then go back to it, it's false now, because this was nil. So we need to set this. We do need to set this, but that doesn't fix our legalMoveHighlight mistake here. So it'll fix our legalMoveHighlight boolean, which it does right here, and then we move out, come back in, and it's still false, which it should be. And then we need to fix this. The legalMoveHighlight should be false when we're over there, because that's a diagonal. So instead of setting legalMoveHighlight to true based on stack control, we need to set it true upon stack control if we are, if it's our first move before we click. Then once we click, it needs to go to our orthogonal logic. So I guess I'm not exactly sure. I guess we check where we're assigning. Yeah, let's check where we're assigning our legalMoveHighlight to be true, and make it so that no, it's legal. Here we go. So we set this to true upon control if it's see, and we don't want to do it if it's not first move locked. We wanted to do it only if we haven't locked in any move. So like we should have, instead of first move locked, we also need a no movement locked, which is before you've clicked on it, but after you've chosen the move type. So our no movement locked starts as false. Actually, starts as true because there's no movement locked. And then we can do our control highlight just like we have with the caveat of and no movement locked. And then once we become first movement locked, we need to flush this no movement lock to false so that we don't make our legalMoveHighlights true. So we'll say instead of movement, I'm using like move and movement, and it's gonna get a little confusing. See, legalMoveHighlight versus move locked highlight, or versus first movement locked. You know what, this move locked highlight, shoot, that's gonna get confusing. Yeah, we should probably change that at some point. I'm still like wrapping my head around the changing of the variables that for our what we did very first thing in this episode, so like I'm trying not to switch those right now. But let's go to where we become first movement locked. See, I'm already confused with that. First move locked versus first movement locked, which is just first move locked. So yeah, we need to flush this first move locked or no, we need to set that one to true, but then we need to flush our no movement locked. Or yeah, is it move or movement? Shit, I need to change that. No movement locked. So we would say we need to take our no movement locked, and that now becomes false because we do have a movement locked. We've got our first move locked, and it's movement locked. Jeez. So anytime we have first move, we need to make sure it's movement. Then we need to make sure first movement locked. We got it right there. Okay. So now I'm hoping that our legal move will not be true anymore if we've already locked in that first move. So right now, legal move is true, legal move is true, legal move is true. But if we click it, legal move is false and legal move is false. But now we need to start adding in our orthogonal logic saying if we're first move locked, then we need to cycle through the grid, do the arithmetic on the grid, check a couple things. We got to do the corner cases, and then we got to do the edge cases, then we got to do the middle cases. And we need to assign legal move highlight based on that stuff. I don't think I'm going to figure that out tonight. I'm going to leave a note saying if first movement locked, cycle through grid, check or update legal move bool in the grids, which probably entails corner case, edge cases, and middle cases. Okay. So yeah, we made a little bit of progress. We changed our control highlight because our control highlight was just gonna ever only highlight stack control. At least that's what it's named for. So I decided to change it to legal move highlight. I guess that's where I did the move and not movement. I guess that makes sense. And then we only populate our legal move highlight if we're not no movement locked. And then we flush our legal move highlight on a stone that's clicked if we're in the move. So yeah, I mean, it's just like, it's a tough update. It's a tough concept for me to try to wrap my head around. But we're gonna git add all to the staging area with a message saying renamed control highlight and started legal move highlight logic. Cool. And we'll push it to our domain. Nice. So yeah, we've got plenty of stuff to do on our list. And I'm going to add the, see if you can factor out the move, the render, highlight renders, highlight placement renders. Cool. Nice. I'll catch you guys tomorrow, and I'll get some more progress done.